Morning, ladies. Try again. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the first Create Your Future Women's Conference. This is a great thing we're having today, and thank you for coming and turning out for this. I hope you'll find this to be a very encouraging day for each of you. My name is Tim Field. I'm the chairman of the Economic Development Corporation, presenting this conference today. We are proud to be bringing this opportunity to you today as well. Because entrepreneurship matters, and the benefits are many. From rewarding problem solving to organizational and leadership abilities to fostering creativity. Not the least of these to its merits is the boost it gives to our local economy. Today we are focused on the highly important roles of women in business. I'd like to introduce you to Mayor David Jackson at the podium and offer some remarks about the vital influence of women's role in our economy. Mayor Jackson.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today on behalf of the city of Madisonville to welcome everybody to this great conference. The importance of women in business cannot be understated. I looked up a couple of statistics this morning. It says more than 9.1 million firms are owned by women, employing nearly 7.9 million people, generating 1.4 trillion sales in 2014. Women-owned firms, 50% or more, account for 30% of all privately held firms and contribute 14% of employment and 11% of revenues. So the importance of women in business and the opportunities for women in business, I think, are unprecedented in the United States and in the world today. So Creating Your Future, I think, is a tremendous title for this conference, and I'm excited for the city of Madisonville to be part of your future. You know, economic development is very important. It's one of the most important things I believe that I do as mayor and get the opportunity to do. It's an ongoing challenge, and the city of Madisonville works closely with officials of our regional towns and cities, the Chamber of Commerce, the Madisonville-Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation, to establish strong incentives for diverse industries and retailers to relocate here. Our area leaders are also developing strong small business supports to grow our current small businesses and develop new ones in the area. We recently won the Governor's Cup. I'm really excited about that because of growth in our economy. And so it's important. It's one of the things that I try to do on an ongoing basis. Bob Simmons and I are on a mission to try to visit every small business in town. And so if we haven't been to you yet, we're going to make it. We'll be there soon because we want to get in front of businesses. First of all, let you know we appreciate you locating in Madisonville, creating jobs and opportunity in commerce in Madisonville. And also we recognize the partnership between our small businesses and the city of Madisonville. Through all of the services that we provide, you know, utilities and water and electricity and things like that, it's important that we are good partners. And so if there's something that we're doing that we shouldn't be doing or something we're not doing that we should be doing, I want you to let me know because we want to be a good partner with you guys as you create the future for Madisonville and Hopkins County. Again, thank you and enjoy your conference.
Jackson. I guess I want to introduce to you the esteemed group of panelists we have for you today. Call your name and please come up and join us at the front table here. Our first panelist is Jenny Gibson. She's the daughter of Joe and Troy Thomas, who was born and raised here in Madisonville. After finishing high school at North Hopkins High School, she attended Murray State University. She received her bachelor's degree in business. Then on to the University of Louisville Law School, which she earned her Juris Doctorate. Practicing law for 3 years, she's spent the next 15 plus years of her career working for real estate banking in the global market. It was during this time that Jenny was first exposed to gaining a passion for downtown redevelopment, working with many commercial and residential projects, both new construction and the diversity of historic commercial buildings. An attempt to help spur new business growth in our downtown area and stretch her legs as an entrepreneur, Jenny opened the Big City Market Coffee Bar in October 2013. Big City Market has been a resounding success to date and has expanded to a staff of 6 full part-time employees. Work is underway on an adjacent building, expansion space to allow business to open more dining area, live coffee house style performances, and upscale beer and wine menu. The latest venture is Mad City Bakery. This new business will specialize in highly customized state-shaped cookies, marketed primarily online into businesses, governments, universities in need of a reasonable price to get high quality gift to support their business development and goodwill. Next panelist is Elizabeth Odom. Elizabeth began her career at Edge Community College in Madisonville, graduating in 1991, working as an assistant to Gary Harlan in 1992. She then started her long devoted career at Blaze in the ownership of Lee Doyle. Elizabeth continued her career in 2002, which time becoming part owner of the business. In 2008, she purchased a office property at 231 North Main Street here in Madisonville and moved the salon to the location. She became the sole owner and operator. The move allowed her to expand her business to a full-service salon and spa. Blaze is a full-service salon and spa, specializing in color correction and hair cutting. Their stylists are up to date with the latest trends, setting styles by consistently attending training and obtaining top-of-the-line education. Since relocating, Blaze has been a 6-time recipient of the Messenger Reader's Choice Award, and recipient of the Madisonville-Hopkins County Small Business Award 2012. She's busy behind the stylist chair. You can find her with her family. She and Jason, their 2 children, live in Madisonville, and are actually members of the First United Methodist Church. Next panelist is Sherry Cannon. Sherry is an owner of Catering Creations in Madisonville. Catering Creations is a full-service catering company that provides all levels of catering and event planning, as well as dinners to go, which offer a select selection of casseroles, salads, sides, and desserts to go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sherry was raised in a family business and contributed her entrepreneurial attitude and determination to her father. Sherry's been a business owner, entrepreneur for over 10 years. First as a partner at Innovative Profit Solutions, a successful regional finance and insurance company providing products and services to analyze and increase business sales profits, customer satisfaction, and employee retention. Secondly, Catering Creations, she started in 2012. She continued to add additional product services to grow her business and serve her community. Our last panelist is Sharon Smith. Raw Woman Cosmetics has been enhancing the natural beauty of generations of women, from preteens to grandmothers, in Madisonville-Hopkins County since 1965, and continues that tradition today. In 1994, the studio was purchased by Sharon and Larry Smith. Raw Woman Cosmetics are made in America, so are many of their other products. Raw Woman's customers depend on Sharon and her team of beauty consultants to guide them in the best care for their skin and to assist them in choosing the correct cosmetics to enhance their natural beauty. Sharon's background in banking. She spent 13 years at Bell South and 4 years at GE. Sharon's been married to her husband, Larry Smith, for 31 years with 1 daughter and son-in-law. Thank you, Sharon. Today's moderator for the panelist discussion is Sheila Carter. Sheila is the president of the Madisonville-Hopkins County Minority Economic Development Council. So I'll turn it over to Sharon.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning. We are here to seek knowledge and ins and the ins and out of operating a business. So we have 4 great people to feed from this morning. Ladies, I have a list of 10 questions that I would like to ask each of you. Each one of you will have 2 questions apiece. And then the ones that are left, you can decide if you'd like to answer those or not. I will give you two minutes per question. The first question, Jenny Gibson, if you would answer that for me. Okay. Women leadership style tends to be more collaborative, compassionate, and creative. How do you effectively leverage these traits to drive your business?
We started Big City Market, like a lot of you person that did it all. And what I've learned, and I think it's by the nature of women, is that we've been much more effective by, I dole out responsibility. If someone has what sounds like a great idea, my first response is, that's great, figure out how we can do it. And I do my best to empower, my entire staff is women. I've had one man that worked for me for a short period of time. An all-woman staff works very well. Sorry, guys, but it just, especially my strong. We do take a real collaborative approach in running the business. We decide that there's a new initiative, whether it's a new salad or even our new cookie company. We decide, okay, what's our skill set? Who's best at different things, and then we dole out responsibility, and I insist on accountability. I try to give my staff the skills that they need to accomplish the task that they've been assigned, and then I give them responsibility and hold them accountable for their decisions, and I require them to make a decision. A lot of, especially young women, they don't like to make decisions, and they'll give you information, but they won't actually make the decision. And so I have found that it's been very empowering for them and more helpful to me if I basically force them to the wall and say, you must make this decision, and we will all live by your decision. So as far as from a collaborative standpoint, that's what we do, and it's been very effective in our life.
The second question I would like to direct to Sharon Smith. Multicultural women face unique challenges. What is your company doing to engage and advance multicultural women?
Sheila, I think this is the one question that I struggled with more than any, because multicultural women, I mean, that could be many women of different races, and as far as unique challenges for them, I feel like that all women face pretty much those same challenges, and especially in a business environment. And so as far as what am I doing to engage and advance multicultural women, of course, we're in the business of cosmetics. And one of the things that I find in a lot of women, whenever they go out to even interview for a job, they are not prepared to interview for that job. They are not professionally groomed. They don't have a resume, or it's a resume that someone else prepared for them, and when you get down into asking those questions, you can truly see that they are not prepared. They didn't do that resume. And so I think as far as multicultural women, for us to help to advance them, our skill set that we have in our studio, I think will help them as far as when they go out and look for a job, when they're going to the bank. If they came to me for advice, and I do have some that come to me from time to time, they think because I've been in business for 20 years that I know it all, and truthfully I don't, but I'm there to encourage them to move forward with whatever it is that they want to do. And we certainly try to encourage them to be leaders in the community. And so anyway, so I think from that point, that's how my company helps that for those women. And the problem is most of them don't know that that help is available, because I think anybody on this panel would be willing to help anybody to advance. And as I said, unique to being in business, women face far more challenges to being in business just in general than a lot of people would.
Thank you. I really appreciate what she says. She has been very helpful with the banking institution and allowing us ladies in the bank to come in at night and making us up and making us feel beautiful. And so I really appreciate that. And all the ladies were just excited about the difference it made and made them feel. So Ms. Smith, I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Sheila, I appreciate it.
The next question I will direct to Elizabeth Odom. What can our organization, the EDC, do differently or better as it relates to advancing women?
Well, I believe that in order to advance women in our community, things like this, I mean, I'm looking out at all these beautiful women, the successful women, and I just believe in empowering them and making things like this type of event available to them. It can only encourage the expertise in bringing different industries into our community and making us more competitive with areas around us. I just believe that anything that we can do to empower women would be really helpful as far as what the EDC can do for us.
Appreciate that. The next question will be to Sherry Buchanan. How would you challenge our audience to be the change agents for women's leadership?
Take the risk. If you've got something, if you've got a business that's, or an idea to start a business or to grow what you're currently doing, step out and take the risk. You know, my attitude towards, in my first step out in business, I left a large insurance corporate type job with big salary, company vehicle, expense accounts, all that. And well, I say salary, it was 90% commission. It was a very male-dominated world, and there were five women across the country in this. It was a $3 billion company, and there were 5 women across the country in the type of sales position that I was in. And another woman and I had the idea to start our own. We're thinking, you know what, we can do this ourselves. And so we left all that, which was scary as it could be, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything. And it was just about taking that risk. I'm a big believer in prayer, so you pray about it first. And if that's where you feel like God's leading you, then He'll make that path. But another thing is, if you don't have a good support, build one. I mean, I have a wonderful, wonderful family that is there to help and support me in anything and everything that I do. And I have great friends that are there as well that I can bounce ideas off of, that can kind of rein me back in and go, Sherry, you lost your mind. No, we can't do that. Or I have a wonderful, wonderful staff, but sometimes they're like, okay, we can't take it anymore. So, and it's so it's, I guess if I had to categorize those, it would be to make sure you got a good support system, whether that, like I said, be your family, if it's friends. I mean, look around. I mean, this is, like you said, it's a wonderful room of intelligent, awesome ladies that all have great ideas, I'm sure. Bounce those off of each other. In the first question, the collaborative part of it, I love to talk to other people, particularly women, but just to talk to other people and just to see what ideas they have that can spark. Oh, hey, would we try this? Or if we would join this piece and this piece and this piece, it would, we can all be that collaborative. And we're in such a one-stop shop society, and so the more service that you can provide, the more ideas you can give to a customer. Make sure you got a good support system, but take the risk. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because society has come so far for women. There's other ways to go, but again, with opportunities like today, it just empowers us that much more.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm back to you, Jenny. And I think you're going to really answer this for me. What was the
That's, you know, a lot of people would call it chick food. But I was in, up until that point, I worked in a very male-dominated business in commercial banking, and specifically construction and development lending. Now, every one of my customers was a master of the universe. They had all the answers. They were big risk takers. But I was able to be successful in that, you know, environment. And I think the reason for that I could whoop up on the boys that were my counterparts in banking, was that I didn't waste my time worrying about what special circumstances, barriers, ceilings, whatever I was going to have to deal with as a woman. I mean, it never occurred to me that I would not be just as successful as anybody else in banking that had the same background, educational requirements, you know, whatever. And I think, as with a lot of groups, I think women have a tendency to do themselves an injustice. They start out thinking, well, I'm a woman and I'm going to encounter all sorts of unique problems that, quite frankly, you end up creating them to a great extent all by yourself. I've not had any unique problems being a business owner just because I'm a woman. I mean, I deal with not having enough money and not, you know, being able to find the employees I want and whatnot. But that's just being a business person. That has nothing to do with my parts. My brain is just as good and I can operate it just as well. But I think that if, as a woman, and let's be honest, I mean, you know, there's a lot of successful women around. The times are very different than they were 50 years ago, and when I was born. But I think that in the future, one of the biggest challenges is for ourselves, is to get past that, move forward. If we want to play the game, play the game. Don't worry so much about being a woman, and be supportive of each other. My experience has been, and no one likes to admit it, but women can be not always real supportive of other women, especially if they're successful. Buddy. And it's a shame, but that, I mean, you know, we don't have to acknowledge it here, but I think we know that. We've encountered women, especially successful, we've had successes. We may have some naysayers, and they're usually not good. So I think those are the challenges, is to get past that, move forward, and, you know, be successful.
Ms. Smith, this question is for you. What is a typical day like for you?
I'm not sure they want to do it. I'm not sure they want to do it. Well, truthfully, my day never ends. It begins, just like many others. I've been very fortunate while I've been in business. I didn't have a small child at home, and I really applaud the ones that are in business that do have children at home. But, of course, my day begins in the morning. My husband's going to kill me for this, but I have a very supportive husband. He's retired. He fixes my coffee, then he fixes my breakfast shake, and while I get ready and I head off to work. And so anyway, but normally my day starts in my studio about 8 o'clock. We open at 10. If I'm fortunate enough, I don't have to be there till 10 o'clock, as long as I've got a good staff working for me, which I do. And sometimes I have staff that are good, but we're very short-staffed. But as my day includes from going to a meeting at 7:30 in the morning, it can include, like today I went and got my hair done because I was going to come here today. I wanted to look good. But anyway, but it started off at 7:30 in the morning, so it starts out very early. Then I go into my studio, and one of the first things that I do is I walk around in my studio to see, is it ready to be open for the day? it's just a habit that I've gotten into. And then the next thing I'll do is I go into my office and I take a look at my schedule, and I'm afraid I'm not as good about keeping a schedule on a computer as other people are. I've got a poster here and a poster there, and if it's a big meeting, I've got a big poster with the date on it and the time so that I remember to go. But there's a lot of planning that goes on in my day. There's a lot of customer interaction in my studio, because even though I may not be working with a customer, my customers like to see me. They like to know that, well, where's Sharon today? So if I know they're in there, well, Sharon's gonna go up and talk to them, because that's a part of what we do. That's how personal our business is. But then maybe paying bills, doing some book work, working on a marketing campaign. We have a staff meeting tomorrow, so I'm looking over what are we going to be talking about in our staff meeting. And then at the end of the day, I go back through my studio once again, make sure the door's locked. You know, I have a meeting tonight, so as soon as I get through with that, I'm headed off to another meeting tonight, and then I will be home about 8 o'clock, or a little after 8:30. But one of the things, and this didn't even talk about my studio, but I was discussing with Elizabeth and someone else today, another business owner. You have to have a passion for the business that you're in if you want to be successful. It has to be something that you are going to live and breathe, because as a small business owner, you do everything. I may be sweeping the floor. I may be cleaning the toilet. I mean, I have staff, but my staff is there to sell. So if they're busy working with customers and they're selling, all of these other things still have to be done. So, but you have to have a plan for your business. You have to be ready to make that plan work. And you have to get out and let people know about your business. That's the reason why I do a panel like this. That's the reason why I go to a business meeting tonight. That's the reason why I'm going to be going to 1 million cups as often as I can get there. Because my business has to grow from the outside in as well as the inside out. And so therefore, I mean, I do it all. If you want to know a typical day, that's a typical day. And it starts early and it ends late.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing that with us, because sometimes we don't think about it typical day. For ladies, for us ladies, we really don't. Sometimes we're up at 6 and we don't go to bed until 12. But thank you so much for sharing that with us. Ms. Oldham, how do you motivate yourself and stay motivated?
I'm motivating myself. My clients actually motivate me as much as anything. I have a new boss in my chair every 30 minutes to an hour. Everything that they talk about is exciting for me. It's an investment into their lives. You have to build that relationship with them. My employees also keep me motivated. When they're excited about something, it makes me excited about something. Everything I do today, I enjoy what I do. And like Ms. Sharon said, it's a passion. You have to have a passion for what it is that you're doing. And if you don't have that passion, it's real hard to stay motivated. So, and of course we do continuing education and that type of thing, but, and that supplies some motivation for what we do, but really it's whoever's in my chair and whatever that moment is, because that is what drives me and keeps us up to date. I mean, we can't be motivated if we're not up to date, and that's where we get that, is from whoever's in our chair, whoever our boss is at that time. And for me, like I said, that may be who's in my chair or who's standing beside me, so that they are my
Thank you, Ms. Oldham. Ms. Buchanan, what was the biggest barrier that you encountered when you started your business?
Like Jenny, I think that we as women put our own barriers in front of us. We worry too much. We feel like we have to control everything. We have to, we can fix everything. And so I think first of all, for me, I had to look in the mirror, and I could have been my own worst barrier. But at the same time, I said, or take that risk, and I've always kind of had an attitude of, you're never going to know until you try. And, you know, we can what if it to death, what if this happens, what if that happens? What if it succeeds, ladies? No. What if it succeeds? What if it goes well? What if, and you're going to have challenges, I don't care what job you have, that's just life. But there are going to be challenges, there are going to be things that I know that I thought that this is going to work so great, and this is going to be it. And there's a whole list of those, you know, and only to go, what was I thinking? But, you know, just getting it started, having that game plan, and I'm a pretty organized person, but again, I just kind of reiterate what Jenny says, we can sometimes be our own worst enemy in that. But I guess specifically my biggest barrier in catering and creation is getting that started. I'm not originally from Madisonville. I've been here for almost 13 years. But I never worked in Madisonville, so, other than my husband being from Madisonville, I didn't have a whole lot of ties here, you know, and so, that was a little, I don't know, it was a little difficult in just trying to figure out, and economic development was huge in kind of helping with some of those steps, kind of directions and those types of things, but again, and then just talking with people and going, okay, what about this, what about that, how will this work, and set yourself apart, be different. You know, that was something that when I looked at it, it was like, okay, here's who my competition is in this town, and think the world of them, but I got to be different. I've got to set myself apart, and how can I do something or provide something different that is not currently being offered in Madisonville? It may not be for the cheapest price, and that's okay. I'm not trying to be, and that was one thing that I really struggled with, was I've got to compete with this, and I got to compete with that, and I got to, my pricing's got to be, you know what? No, it doesn't, because what I try to do is provide something that's different, that, you know what, no, it's not going to be the cheapest, but we strive to give a great product with great service, and somehow either set ourselves apart. So whatever you may be contemplating, make it be different, set it out. You know, I think that at first I fell into that, okay, I've got to do it this way because this is what everybody's used to. And you know what? We want something different. So, big city, my goodness, that. I think it's awesome that we have someplace like that in a little town like Madisonville, you know? And I love Madisonville, don't get me wrong, because I'm from a small town and wouldn't have it any other way. But I just think we can be I can't reiterate what Jenny said, we can be our own biggest challenge if we're not really, really careful.
I have one question for the panel. What is one thing you set up in your business to help it grow that worked the best, and why?
I have, I'm not sure that I would be in business today if I had to do all the payroll related things that have to get done in business. Actually, I was one of these women that went to counsel with Sharon Smith before I started my business. And she's dead on. She was honest with me, but she was very supportive. But one thing actually she suggested to me, and I don't know if Amy Sanderson but I went, I'm technically I guess you would call me a temporary employee. I have Big City has a co-employment relationship with what's called PERMCO, which is, I guess you could say, a subsidiary of People Plus. And what PERMCO is basically all these little businesses like mine that don't have many employees band together and live we all are part of PERMCO, such that we now have a much larger organization so that we can, for example, get group rates on health insurance. When we started our business, to get my key employee who knew about the coffee business, which I knew nothing about, I had to be able to provide her insurance. It was not obtainable by me independently. So by going with PERMCO, I was able to get insurance for her, for myself, my family at group rates, and which was just based on our sex and age, that's it. And what happens is I pay 5% of our gross payroll, of wages, not of benefits, but just of wages. I pay that to PERMCO, and they do everything related to the employees. They cut the checks, they do the withholdings, they file with the government. When I have a new employee, I say, go out to People Plus, and they sign them up, and they make copies of the whatever to make sure we're not terrorists, I guess, So they do all of it. They take care of all of it. So for 5%, now if any of you are in payroll, or if you have your business and and have employees, how much time is dedicated to doing all that stuff. And the consequences of making a mistake are severe, really severe. So I made the decision that it was worth that 5%. If I had 15 or 20% more of my time to do things that I was good at, then I could more than make up that 5% that it was going to cost me to totally outsource the whole employment issue. And now I still choose the employees. I hire them and I fire them as needed. But I make all those decisions and I establish the rules. But PERMCO handles the rest of it. And I have to tell you, I really don't know where my business would be now if I was tied up with all that stuff that I have to deal with.
And I'd like to comment on hers, and then I have one thing that I want to talk about myself. But Jenny and I were talking about going into business, and when we were talking about that, she said, I have this wonderful person I want to hire for my business, but she needs insurance. Well, the Sandersons are friends of mine, and they had talked to me for years about doing my payroll through them, and I had chose not to until I ran into the same issue that Jenny had. Somebody that I needed to hire or wanted to hire needed insurance. Well, as a small business, you don't have thousands of dollars to pay out for people's health insurance. You would love to, but I was paying out thousands of dollars for my own health insurance as well, and my husband's. But that need, but us talking to one another, and that gets back to what I'm going to say. But networking to me has been a choice that I made from the get-go. A choice to network. And by doing that, did I spend a lot more hours in my business or on my business? I sure did, because 60 and 80 hours whenever you first go into business, that's enough just to get your job done and make sure that you are on target with everything you want to do. But then you're going to add in going to chamber after hours, and you're going to add in going to breakfast meetings, and then you're going to add in going to belonging to the Rotary Club and belonging to BPW. And you don't get to just belong if you're a small, because what you're doing is promoting your business. And if they see somebody that's lackadaisical about the club that they love and believe in, well, let me tell you, they think that's the way you're going to treat your business as well. And so my main thing that I did 21 years ago that I was still doing today, not quite as much, I'm a little older, I don't want to work 80 hours a week. But the thing about it is being here in front of you, I'm hoping that with what you hear from me today and what you see from me today, and I have 2 young employees that just started working for me last week, that you're going to want to do business with me. And so networking to me, and Jenny does a great job of that as well, because she's very concerned about the downtown. I know Elizabeth just came out of leadership Hopkins County. I mean, it's that networking for me that really I made a decision to do, and I continue to do it, and I feel like it's one of the main things that's made our business successful.
Blades has developed this unique opportunity for all the staff. They can choose to be an employee of Blades, starting at a commission rate or an hourly rate, whatever suits them best, or they can choose to do, grow their own business under the umbrella of Blades. So that increases growth all the way around, because once you start as a stylist or a technician, you have to build a clientele in order to earn your paycheck. And it's hard to go in and do that in a booth reading situation, so we do have those 3 levels of employment there at the salon, and that works well, and it encourages and keeps people motivated. So that's something that we've developed in my salon too, that has worked really well for everyone, for myself and for the entire staff. And I think that's a pretty unique thing for a salon as well.
We had the opportunity this last trimester of school, and actually we were approached with it. So, but we had 10 students from North that would come on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and if we had a big event we were preparing for, we could get them more often. And they're seniors, they're usually honor type students, but they were it was free labor, I guess, anyway, but they were so enjoyable and so helpful, and it just opened up other doors with us with the Board of Education and just these people's parents. 3 of the young ladies that came to our location, they come on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They were just there for an hour each day, but they were workers. They weren't there just to be involved. And 3 of them we have actually used in helping us with different events to cater with it. So that's something that and it's just, and I had so many teachers thank us for letting them do that, because there's so many businesses in town that don't want to forward them, or don't want, or can. There's certainly situations they can. Because we're just so appreciative that you let them do that. My attitude was that's our future. No different than us women here today trying to see how can we empower each other, how can we move ahead as women. But these students are our future, and just being supportive of them. The last day they were there, we had all these really cool little things for them to eat off fixed. They all came in and washed their hands, got their gloves on, and put their aprons on. We're like, this is y'all's time, So we hung out with them, and a couple of parents were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe y'all did that for them. And they were just a blessing to us. What are you talking about? But that was just really a way that we felt like, as small as it was, but was a way to, that's our future. It was great. They came to us, but it was a great step with them.
Well, ladies, on behalf of the EDC, we would like to thank each of you for sharing your business knowledge and your passion with us today. And I encourage everyone to be supportive of our women-owned businesses. Everyone's bow their heads for us. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful gathering. Father God, we ask that you bless this food that we're about to receive for the nourishment of our bodies, and that you bless the hands that prepared it. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Thank the panel. Really appreciate that. And for Sheila, who is always willing to step up, and she so eloquently speaks. I don't. She should talk to you if you're talking to something. But thank you, Sheila, for being partners with us and everything you do for us. I want to take a few minutes right now and introduce you to our keynote speaker, Benson. humble beginnings selling bells and purses at rodeos, Billy Flair has now grown to be one of the top online boutiques in the nation, with annual sales exceeding $5 million. Laura brings a unique gift and perspective and credibility to this conference, as she has started and grown a successful company, all while balancing being a wife and a mom. Laura believes that with your attitude, or that your attitude has way more to do with your circumstances than your aptitude. Welcome, Laura Benson.
Thank you. I am so excited and honored and just really humbled to be here with you guys. Thank you, Van, for the nice introduction. When I was thinking about what I really wanted to speak to you guys about, I kept going back to, I want to tell you my story and I want to inspire you and I hope you take a lot from that. But what were some things that I could really bring to the table to you? What were some real life action steps that you can use tomorrow in your job, in your business, in your home, maybe in your family life? So this conference is called Creating Your Future. And so I kind of had to take a step back and do some reevaluating on what are things I've done to help create my future in the past and in the day-to-day. And how could I break that down a little for you guys? And like I said, I just thought, besides giving you an inspirational story, some real life tips and steps to maybe use tomorrow in your business. So there's kind of three things I'm going to touch on today, and then at the end I would love to open it up for a Q&A. I'm not a great speaker, so I would love to inspire you to come up with some great questions. You will have all of me, and I would love to know what you really want to learn about me. So, as Ruth-Ann stated, I started Billy Flair, which is an online clothing boutique 5 years ago. You all have a coupon, go check it out. I started 5 years ago in my basement with about $110. And last year we grossed just under $5 million, and we'll be double that this year. I currently have 22 employees. So I am young, younger than a lot of you here, and do not have all the answers by any means. It's a learning experience every day as I go, but I'm hoping I can at least bring some real world knowledge to this. It's been a crash course, a crazy ride the past couple of years. So hopefully I do have some good insight that you think will help in your businesses. So there's three things I want to talk to you today about. Your vision, your leadership skills or lack of, and your fears. So I want to start with vision. And I know this doesn't sound cliche, but you have to know what your vision is. If you don't know where you're going, you can't make any steps to get there. If you don't know what the one thing is that's driving you in the day-to-day, you will not get there. You cannot set goals. You can't write it down. You have to figure out your vision. So if you know what your vision is, write it down. Say it every day. Stick it on your wall. Do whatever it takes so you don't lose sight of that. If you don't know what your vision is, usually two easy ways to find it. What is the one thing you can't stop thinking about? And what breaks your heart? If you combine those things, some have it more one-sided than the other. You can usually find what your vision is. So I will be very honest. When I started, I didn't have a very good vision. I knew I wanted to make some extra money on the side, and I started selling stuff at rodeos. I set up my own website right away, and it just kind of grew from there. I knew I wanted to make extra money, so it kind of started from there. But very quickly, I realized that there was a bigger picture, and I realized I could do something really big with this. So the vision came, but at the beginning it was very unstable, I would say. And I will also say over the course of the last couple of years, my vision has changed a lot. Even 2 or 3 years ago, my vision was a lot more sales-driven, which it obviously still is. I want to be one of the best, biggest online boutiques in the world. But as an employer, my vision has changed to my company culture. What am I offering my employees? What kind of standards am I setting for them? What kind of leader am I becoming? What are the things that I'm witnessing to them as? So my vision has changed a lot, especially in the last year as our staff has grown. So I think it's okay for a vision to change and always be just flexible with that. Andy Stanley is one of my favorite speakers. He's also a pastor. If you don't know him, I would highly recommend listening to him. He was at a leadership conference I was at a couple weeks ago, and he said a sentence that was so profound to me that I am going to stick it on my mirror. I have not yet. But he said, great leaders have clarity around an unreasonable commitment to what should be. So think about that a minute. They have clarity around an unreasonable commitment to what should be. So clarity is your vision. It has to be crisp, it has to be clear. You have to know without a doubt what it is. I didn't always have clarity, but I know I always had the unreasonable commitment to what should be. I had the drive. I knew that I wanted to be bigger and better than anyone else out there, and as a 22-year-old kid, I was shipping out orders out of my basement until midnight while my friends were out partying. If you want it, you have to have that unreasonable commitment more than anyone else to make it work. So important around what should be. You're the only person that knows what should be. It's in your heart, it's in your head, and so to have that vision, to have that drive of what should be is what gives you the full circle to make it happen. So really profound sentence to me, to have a clarity around an unreasonable commitment to what should be. And it was actually pretty funny. He compared it to a 14-year-old girl who wants an iPhone. I thought that was a pretty good analogy, just in the sense of like she's stubborn, she doesn't care what it's going to take. If she has to go to her grandma, she has to go to her friend's moms, like she'll do whatever it takes to get that iPhone. That's the one thing on her mind, that's all she can think about. That's how you should be. That's how driven you have to be if you really want to make something special of what you're doing. You need that stubbornness for sure. And the last thing I'm going to say, and I'll move on. At the end of this conference, he told a story about Nehemiah in the Bible. If you don't know it, I'll just fill you in quickly. Nehemiah was a cupbearer for the king, and so he got to speak with him every day and got to know him. And at the time, he was a Jew, and his city, Jerusalem, the walls had been torn down. And in those days, if you did not have walls in your city, you were nothing. You might as well not even had a name, because someone could come in at any time. You had no protection. You didn't have any walls. So he requested, it's unbelievable that he even got the king to let him take time off and go. He said, I really want to rebuild the walls of my city. So I think it was 3 months that he took. Don't quote me on that. But he took months off to go rebuild the walls of his city. The king let him do this. And when the king's people found out about this, they were very intimidated and very angry about it. And they decided they were going to scheme up all these plans, all these ways to stop Nehemiah from building this wall back up. They were worried if he did that he would be able to attack them or whatever. So they fought them. They had wars. They tried killing his men. Nothing was working. Nothing was stopping Nehemiah. And finally they went to him, and he was up on this wall, building this wall. They went to him and said, come down, we want to reconcile with you, we want to have meetings with you, we want to have dinner with you, come down, we want to have meetings, let's meet. And this was so important to me because I feel like in the day-to-day it's so easy to get distracted by emails, by meetings, by whatever it is on our plate, of not losing that vision and how important it is to make sure we're focused on what we're really after. And so Nehemiah was up on that wall, and he said to them, he said, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. So that's something that's really stuck with me, and I encourage all of you to remember that if you really want to accomplish something. I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Remember that. That was huge to me, and I am trying to apply that every day in whatever I'm doing, so I don't get so easily distracted. So the second thing I want to talk to you about today is leadership. I will be very honest, I did not start out a great leader. I grew up on a dairy farm, and we did have employees that I kind of helped manage, but looking back, I definitely did not manage them very well. With leadership definitely needs to come maturity, and I didn't have a lot of maturity. What is leadership? Leadership is not hierarchy. Leadership is not being the boss. It's about building trust, and it's about building relationships with your employees, at least to me, or your team, wherever you're at in your organization. The more you can help your team, the more they'll help you. The more you commit to them, the more they're going to give you back. I've definitely learned that. The more I can give to my girls, the harder they're going to work for me. It's not about what I say to them, it's about what I do. So I really feel like actions speak way louder than words in all areas of life, especially in leadership. So about a month ago, we had launched a new marketing campaign and got swamped with orders, and it was Thursday, and we were shipping Sunday's orders, which is very bad in the world of e-commerce, and I was trying to hire like a night shift to come in and help pack. But in the meantime, I could tell my girls were getting really stressed out, and they were just on edge. I had a full plate, but I knew I need to go out there and spend 2 hours with my team. I just need to be there. There's nothing I can say that's going to change the situation, but I just need to be there. So I took 2 hours of my schedule. I took my baby to my mom. I said, I just need to go stand at the shipping table with these girls and help package orders as fast as I can. And to be honest, I haven't done that in probably 2 years. So I did, and the first thing, it was so awesome to just be next to my whole team again and have them see me out there and know that I cared just as much about the task at hand as they did. That was huge. But while we were standing there was 2 things that I had known about for a long time in my business, just with like processes, but I never would have put together until I was standing at that table. And while I was standing there, I kept thinking, what can I do to make this process faster and more efficient? And if I would have never been standing at that table a month ago, I would have not thought about these things, combining these 2 things. And we're trying to implement it, but it's the probability that it's going to probably double our shipping speed and cut thousands of dollars out of my employee costs, like for future references. It's probably going to change my business dramatically in the way we do things. So it was just a huge learning lesson for me to know that if I've ever thought I was above a task, you're only hindering your own learning abilities. So that definitely was a very good self lesson for me. As far as leadership, it doesn't matter if you're a good speaker or not. I'm not a good speaker. I'm not here because I'm a spruiser or a speaker. I'm here because I see a greater cause of things, and I truly believe that if you care about it and you want to be a leader, you want to become a leader, you are a leader. You don't have to have the right words. You just have to have the right steps, and you have to be willing to be open and honest with the people in your community, on your team, on your employment, your workforce. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is fear. And if I came in here and said, if you want to build the business of your dreams, I did. I just don't be scared. Just go for it. I would definitely not be telling you the full truth. Business is scary for sure, and honestly, the bigger I grow, the more risk I incur, just because of financially, the numbers are so much bigger that it gets scarier all the time. And I want to encourage you, if you are not uncomfortable, if you're trying to build something, if you're an organization, if you're running your own business and you are not uncomfortable, you are not pushing yourself. You need to become comfortable with fear and face it head on. It's so important to be okay with those things. A year ago, so in the past year, I tripled the size of the workforce, the size of our orders, our sales orders. We've moved, in the past 2 years, I've moved 4 locations. Like, just getting a used to change is a normal for me. But I had a girl working for me that was managing my store, and she was, to this day, one of the hardest workers I've ever had. And we come from a very small town, way smaller than this even, and we know everyone. So she had been my manager for about the past year, and everyone knows all your business in a small town, if you guys aren't aware of that. And everyone knew she was my manager. As our workforce grew, and as I grew as an individual, I realized she was not a good manager. And it's probably one of the hardest lessons I've ever dealt with in learning that sometimes people outgrow positions. And I, at the time, especially at the time, did not have the capabilities to help her become a good manager. And not everyone's just cut out for that. So anyway, over the course of several months, I had a baby. In the course of 2 months, I had a baby and fired one of the best employees I ever had, and had to deal with backlash from the community that I didn't want her feelings hurt. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, and I was so scared of her hurting her feelings, hurting my community's feelings, what my community was going to think of me. But I knew I had to do what was right for my business, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. The manager that filled her spots definitely was more people-driven and learned and was on the same boat of the kind of culture I was trying to create, the community within my workforce, the culture that I wanted to develop, so my team could grow really well. So that was a really great lesson for me in the sense of you have to be okay with being scared of things and going for them anyway. I'm not a great speaker, I'm kind of scared of it, but I see a bigger purpose out there of it, and Like, I would be scared of this and go hide in a corner. I would never get to meet new people. I would never get the experiences that are out there awaiting me and awaiting my individual growth as well as my companies. The last thing I want to leave you with before I open it up to a Q&A. So I was at a conference a couple months ago, and there was a speaker talking about fear and talking about his wife. When they got pregnant, she decided she wanted to have a natural birth, which was really important to her. And so when she went into labor, she had been in labor almost 24 hours, and they were at a midwife clinic. And the midwife came in and said, after you're here 24 hours, you have to go to the hospital and make sure everything's okay. And she was so distraught. She wanted to have this baby naturally, and they knew if they went to a midwife clinic, or they knew if they went to the hospital, it was going to be automatic C-section. And she said, is there anything else I can do? Is there anything else? And the midwife said to her, the next contraction you have, whatever is the most uncomfortable position you can be in, whichever position hurts the worst, you need to stay there. You need to lean into that pain. And so she did. Her husband said that next contraction came on, and she screamed louder than she's ever screamed, and leaned into that contraction so hard and leaned into that pain. And within 20 minutes, they had their baby. This story was super emotional for me because I also had a natural childbirth. I know it's not for everyone, but it was so important to me because it gave me the greatest gift I've ever gotten, experiencing the most pain. So, sorry. The hardest things in life bring the most benefits. So I just want to encourage you, whatever is really hard for you, whatever is the thing you're most uncomfortable with, whatever is the thing that scares you, lean into it, lean into that pain, get used to that comfort, because it will make you a better person, it will make your business better, it will make your employees, your whole workforce better. So thank you guys for having me. I would love to have an open discussion and hear what you guys really want to hear from me. Yes?
Tell us how hard it was from going to shipping everything yourself from your basement into moving to where you are now. How did that transition?
That's one of the hardest things. One of the hardest things for me to do within my business is letting go of control. You have to learn to trust the employees that you have, the people that you bring in. If you're choosing to bring those people on your team, when you hire them, that says, I trust you to do these things, and you have to follow up with them. But it's a hard transition. So I started shipping orders out of my basement while I was working full time. The first 3 years of my business, I spent working at least 12 hours a day on a dairy farm, shipping out orders and putting every dollar I made back into that business to grow it faster. So it takes the dedication. And then it eventually got to the point of, okay, I'm going to hire a couple friends to help me ship orders in the evenings, and then transitioned into a full-time employee, shipping orders during the day. The shipping orders wasn't the harder part. The harder part is letting go of some of what I have to have a manager. I have to have people help me with social media, so I don't get to control on a day-to-day basis everything that gets posted. Not everything can be run by me. And learning to grow as an individual, that's been one of a struggle for me to learn that I'm entrusting you with this, and you have to check. There has to be a lot of check-ins. There has to be a lot of follow-up for it to be done well. But as a boss, you have to learn to trust those people and give them the right direction. Yes.
Well, my question is, do you manufacture everything that you sell, or how does that business work?
I work with a lot of manufacturers. So a lot of the stuff I design, a lot of it they've had already designed, and I just order.
To be an online boutique, was that always your vision, to be online, or did you to have an individual store?
So when I started, like I said, I was hauling around to rodeos. I started with a website right away. I just knew, like, this is an easy thing. If I get people to go to this website anywhere, anytime, because I still worked on a farm, I could still make money and ship those orders out at night. So the minute I had a business, I had a website. It was horrible, but it worked. It functioned. People placed orders. My first website was so bad that I had to actually put the size in the comments box, which is, so like, sometimes they would forget to do that, and I'd have to call them. Anyway, so I started that way, and I always have grown it as an online business. So I started in 2010. In 2012, I got engaged, and my business was getting so big, and at that time, I was still farming with my family full time, and I was preparing a wedding and moving. So I actually kind of took a small leave of absence for about 6+ months, just because I couldn't do it well, and I knew if I didn't do it well, I didn't want to ruin relationships with customers. I didn't want to manage or hurt my name, my reputation. So after I got married in November, we reopened in my very small town. I opened with a very small store so people could come in and shop. And then we were open just a couple days a week, and then online again. And within a year, we moved two more stores because we outgrew them. We were open full hours. And then our last store, it was combined with my warehouse. But for me, my location is I'm in a very small town, and I wanted this business to work for me. So I didn't want to. We have a large town of like 300,000, probably 30 minutes from me, and I didn't want to have to go there to make it work. I knew I wanted to stay home, close to my husband and farms and my children. So I wanted this in my small town. So for me, the ticket was the online, and as we grew, I needed more space, and it was really hard for me. But last August is when we actually ended up shutting the storefront because we needed the space for the warehouse. And we actually moved bigger warehouses, and we actually moved to a bigger warehouse, and it doesn't have a storefront space. So what I'm saying is, I changed what Philly Flair was for the better of the business. If for a short amount of time having a storefront was better, it helped us grow faster, I think, because people could come in. But as we grew so fast, our audience, our customers were online. Our storefront was making 5% of the profit, and then 95% was coming online. So I knew I needed to put my focus in the online business. I would love to open another storefront someday, possibly, but I feel like I maybe have to clone myself. I don't know. Yes.
Where did you say you were from?
I am from Colton, South Dakota. Yes.
Do you still have products in your line that you have all along, or do you just keep changing, reinventing for what works for the market?
So I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit. That's a great question. When I started, like I said, I started with Western. I grew up on a farm. I rodeoed. It was all like Western purses and belts. And at that time, blingy stuff was kind of in everywhere, you know? So really quickly, I realized that my audience was way more than just Western people, and actually buying more than just my Western people. So I learned to adapt to what my customers wanted. So really quickly, we became way more of a fashion boutique than Western. We are so small in the Western. We actually kind of branched out on the Western side, but the Philly Flair is all fashion now. And that's because I was basing off what my customers wanted. And I feel like that's never changed. That's always changing. I never keep the same style more than a few months, because fashion is always changing, and I think the customer wants to see new and better things.
So you said earlier that there was a point when you knew it was going to go big. What was the tipping point? What was the time when you knew that it was going to grow?
So I'm a dreamer. I get it from my dad. He always is an idea person, just very futuristic, always thinking about the next idea. When I set it up, I knew within, honestly, about a week. I had a gal from Kansas place an order with me, and I had not spent $1 on advertising anything. She must have just found me. And when that happened, within a week, and I had like 7 products on the website that someone from Kansas ordered, I knew it could be really big. So because I knew I had the whole world of an audience.
What kind of business experience did you have, or did you go through college and have a degree in business? Because one of the biggest challenges for me when I went into business was the fact that I could do everything else, but I really didn't understand business.
What business aspects did you not understand? I want to make sure I elaborate right.
The accounting,
Okay.
keeping of the books, making sure, that I just didn't look at my checkbook and say, there's money in my checkbook, so I've got to be making money. it was that type of thing, that growth spurt that I had to go through to really understand the business aspect.
So I grew up with no business experience. To be honest, we weren't even really taught anything about money at all. So really bad experiences with money growing up, and business, and that's something I'm still really working on, is learning to be a better businesswoman. I was always a really hard worker, so I always had those attributes going for me. So I knew going into it, I had no money to start with. So I needed to reinvest that money as quickly as possible. So that's kind of how I got the ball rolling. And I actually went to a semester of college and had no idea what I wanted to do and quit. So no, I have not even finished college. I really believe that at some point in your business you have to do everything, because you're a one-man show. So I am terrible at bookkeeping, taxes. Nowadays, I think if I had to do taxes, I probably wouldn't do it. I hate it so much. So as soon as I got to a point where I knew I could hire out that help, which was pretty quickly, because if you screw up on those things, you're going to fail your business really quickly. I got help. I hired an accountant. It was really part-time. It was really cheap. But I knew these, in my opinion, you really need to, I have a lot of things I'm not great at that I need to work on, and I want to continue to be better about knowing my numbers, knowing where I'm at. I'm always checking them, but I know that I'm better at sales, I'm better at knowing what my customer wants, I'm better at buying, I'm better at social media. So to me, it was a no-brainer to have help in that department that I hated, that I knew I wouldn't stick with, I knew I wouldn't follow through, and have help with that and do the other things really well, so I could afford to have someone help me with that. Yes, ma'am.
Your price point on your clothing is extremely low. Do you do that? I mean, is it just quantity? Is that how you keep it so low? Or what's your manufacturing
yes.
strategy to keep it so low?
I started with a really low price point because I had no overhead. So it started there. I started in my basement. It was just me.
Were you making the clothes at that point, or were you manufacturing them?
No, I was just buying online. So to me, that was the quickest way to gain customers, was to offer a lower price point to people. It still is. It's still one of our best features we can bring our customers, and I'm really proud of that. So I started because I had such low overhead. I was able to do that for people in a small community, in a small town. Even when I grew, I didn't have the overhead costs that I would have if I would have moved to a big city with the storefront. So there was just another reason why I decided to go against a storefront and have a bigger warehouse, because people could just buy it online, which is kind of the direction our society is headed towards anyway. And I can offer them a better price point and make more customers happy faster. So now, yes, we buy in such large quantities that I get much higher discounts. Yep. Yes.
How do you recoup the cost of your handling, packaging and whatnot? Is that built into the price of your product, or do you charge a separate shipping and handling fee?
We charge $6 to ship an item if it's under 50. So I know that if I'm selling over 2 items, I can factor in the cost of shipping, and it's obviously smaller on 2 items than 1. So I will eat it, so it is factored in. If it's under that, I'm putting that cost on my customer. Does that answer your question? Anyone else? I would love to know what you guys have to share.
Okay, obviously you know this, and looking around here, women are all different shapes and sizes. How do you decide, who, I mean, I looked at your website a little bit last week, and just now I was on here looking on my phone, but how do you decide what to carry and who to market to most, and just what sells, or?
No, I do not. Well, what sells on my website? So they actually asked me in an interview this morning. I have a style that I have curated myself, and that I know my customers like. I do a lot of research on what my customers are buying, what they want, what they're buying from me. That is how I make my buying decisions, much more so than sometimes I go to markets and my manufacturers will say, this is our best-selling dress, this is our best-selling dress. I don't care. I've never asked that. And I hear a lot of other companies asking that when I'm at markets. Boutique owners will walk up and say, what's your best-selling item? Me personally, maybe that works for some people, I don't care. Like I know what I think will sell well, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, and what I think my customer is going to want, just from the experience I've had with them in building the type of style we have, and I base it on that. As far as sizing, it's a really hard game. I try. A lot of manufacturers only like to do small through large. Some of them do the X through 3X, and sometimes I get it, and sometimes it sells, sometimes it does not. So the sizing is a tricky one. I'm still working on that.
How did you go about basically becoming a buyer and finding manufacturers to go to market, and how hard was that to do?
I thought it was pretty easy, personally. I just did a lot of research. I just started Googling stuff and figuring it out and going. I just hopped on an airplane and went to a market. I knew nothing about it. I drove my sister with me, and we just figured it out. I'm a very jump in head first type of person. And going back to my speech, I think sometimes in situations you don't have to know all the logistics. You just need to wait. If you wait until everything is perfectly in line and you know this is going to work and this is going to work, you're going to be waiting around forever, and someone else is going to beat you to it. If you have a dream, yes, you have to have some simple things figured out, but I really feel like in a lot of circumstances you just need to jump in and try it and learn as you go.
Tell us how you expanded your line and what your future plans are.
So, like I said, we started Western. This winter we launched the whole Western side, so it's separated. So if people want to shop that, it's easily accessible. I can market towards those customers better. I'm coming out with the children's line. Well, it's still in the works. I don't have a date on it yet. My daughter is wearing one of the dresses. It's called Charlie G. That's her name. So she's wearing one of the dresses there. We are very real possibly looking into opening a storefront now in the bigger town, just as we grow and I have more help with those things. And personally, for me, as this journey continues, this is something I heard a while back at a conference. Was at the end of a speech, a guy said, "My wife's favorite line is, what do I want people to thank me for when I'm an old lady?" And that really hit me. So I'm trying to do more things like this. Like I want to help empower women or empower business people, and really help people in whatever direction they want. So personally, I'm hoping to expand some of my teaching career, speaking career, whatever that looks like. That is also why we put, if you want to get on the email list, we might be sending out some stuff in the future. So, yes.
I see that you don't sell through Amazon. Is that a choice, or is that something you haven't?
That's a choice. We've done so well personally. We haven't found a need to give Amazon a fee to sell through them. So, okay. Yes.
What has been your most successful marketing strategy, and which type of marketing do you see has benefited your company the most?
So, Facebook has made my business, which is crazy. To be honest, I think Facebook ride is kind of over if you're getting into the world. I think it's still great to have a Facebook page. I think it's great to be on every social media aspect. But social media has blown my business out of the water. Up until a year ago, I never spent a dime on advertising. So the game has changed for sure. But when I started, I did not even ever hear of another online boutique on Facebook. So think how crazy that is. Every time you log in, you see 500 of them popping up. So the market has changed dramatically, and I definitely got that way of coming in early and built my audience really fast and quickly on that. We're just under like 1 million followers on there, so that's been really huge for us. And it's just helped to, I think, reassure customers that we're a really solid, big company. People like to see that, or they like to see a lot of other customer interaction. So Instagram, Twitter, we're working on a lot of social media is awesome, but you have to, it's a beast. You have to feed it non-stop all the time, and you have to be there to pick up the pieces. Every time someone wants to know something, you have to have someone there to answer. At least that's how you get the best results. So I built this from scratch, from my own hard work, and a lot of that came into play, of me spending hours doing that by myself and building that rapport with people. Anything else? Yes?
Do you see Facebook continuing to be let's say the next 5 years, continuing to be the leading online marketing strategy, or do you see something else coming?
I think whatever the next thing is enough yet. I don't see it being the next. I don't see it continuing. Instagram was, Facebook bought it, but I think there still is going to come another Mark Zuckerberg that doesn't want to be bought out by Google, and he or she is going to make the next big thing. High schoolers now they don't want anything to do with Facebook because their parents are on it, their grandparents are on it. So yeah, I mean it really is. So I think, yeah, I definitely think in 5 years there will be something different. No one knows what that is yet. Hopefully I'm going to try and ride that way too. I don't know.
Let's invest it.
Anything else? Yes.
Okay, I'm not a business owner, but I do run my own department, and you talk a lot about creating a culture for your employees and for your business. What are some tips that you can give on creating a culture for your employees to help employee retention and stability?
So that's my favorite question, I think. So going back to being a leader and an optimist, if you are leading a group or an organization or you want to become a leader, you have to have the best attitude of anyone in the whole entire world starting off. So when I have a bad day, when something's not going, when sales are down, when I've got mad at my husband, whatever it is, when I get to the door at my warehouse, I have to stop. Sometimes I physically stop and check myself because it does not matter what's going on in my personal life. When I walk through those doors, I have to be the best, happiest, most loyal, trustworthy person to my employees that I can. That is so important and huge for them. They're relying on that. They're looking to me to keep things going, to keep the energy going. So it's attitude. It's what you determine your culture is going to be like. So in my culture, I'm a strong Christian. That's important to me. I'm not saying everyone I hired has to be a strong Christian, but I want the ability to witness to them in ways of how we act. We don't swear. We don't gossip about people. We keep positive attitudes. And with 22 women, it's something we keep in check all the time. And what's really funny, I promised I wouldn't use his name again, but Andy Stanley, I was just listening to him this morning and was talking on a sermon about conflict. When I grew up, I hated conflict. It still is not my favorite thing, but I've learned that it can be a good thing. It's kind of like constructive criticism. Conflict has to happen. You have to call people out in a great positive way, and so they know that okay, I'm not doing what they want me to do, and it's not going to be allowed here. You know, we're trying to really we're really trying to just make this environment the best it can be. You know, our generation and younger, they don't care. They want to make money, but they don't care about the dollar. They want the culture. They want to feel like they're involved in something big. Another thing we do, we have a meeting every Friday with our whole staff. So I'm always there, like no matter what, down to my last shipper. And so they always feel like they're in the know. So anytime we're going to be announcing something, I have something big coming up, I can't talk about it until Friday. So I know that my staff knows it first. Because it's important to them. Because otherwise they feel like left out. Like they want to be in on that same big picture. And if they're not getting told things, if they're not feeling like they're a part of it, that culture is going to go south, and there's going to be negativity and gossip and all those things that don't go well. Yes?
I personally know that you did something very neat at Christmas for the community. I was wondering if you would share that.
Yeah, this Christmas I decided I wanted to do something really, I want to do something again this year. I don't remember what yet. But I wanted to give back in some way other than just a donation to a church or something. So we actually got our local news station to send in nominations, and I chose 5 women to basically give them like a full day out. So in our town and the surrounding towns, everyone wants to come shop our warehouse. It's right on the interstate. You drive by it, and it's 7,000 square feet. It's huge. It's this huge building. And so it's like every woman's dream to get to come to this warehouse and shop it. So I gave 5 women a gift certificate. They got to come shop the warehouse with me. We picked them up in the limo, got their hair done, gave them gift certificates to go out with their family. Just something fun where I felt like I could. It has to be more than about you. Personally, that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned. I've always been a driven person. I've always wanted to be really successful, and I still don't think I'm there. But no matter, as my dollar numbers have gotten bigger, it's made me no different as a person. Like, it doesn't make you feel any different. I don't look at anything differently. So there has to be a bigger picture than just the money. You have to have a greater purpose of it. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Wow, Laura, that was great. Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? First of all, we have many people to thank, but all of them are sitting right there. Thank you. Thank you for attending today. The Economic Development Corporation, as you know, is charged with economic development in this community, in this county. And that covers several things: new business development, existing business development, and entrepreneurial development. That's what this is all about. Ruth Ann is the person on our staff and our corporation that's responsible for entrepreneurial development. This was her idea, and we're really proud of her for putting this together. In spite of everything she's gone through lately, and everything, and to be able to put this conference together. And Barbara and Jamie, who are also on staff with it, and with me, and for all the work that they've done. But we really want to thank you for coming today. It takes many efforts. You've seen some of them scrolling up here today. We had 3 sponsors for this event. United Southern Bank, Tim's back here, and thank you very much as a silver sponsor. Penny Ryle Area Development District was our bronze sponsor, and Independence Bank. And we want to thank them so much for being sponsors for this event today. Ladies, our panel session, I thought, was just great today. We first talked about this, well, you know, who should it be? I remember Ruth Ann visiting about it, and there were certain names that just immediately popped out. Sheila, yours is one of them, to be our moderator. One of the first ones. Thank you very much for that. And to Sherry and for Sharon, thank you, Sharon, and Jenny back there. Thank you very much for being part of this and listening. And I thought you just added immensely. Jenny Sewell was also supposed to be on the panel today, and she had an emergency come up and was not able to be here. Sherry, also thank you very much for the food. It was delicious. And Noel, Ben Reynolds, and Dana, thank you very much. Dana was in here working on the microphone and everything before you all got here, and fixing everything up and checking the temperature. Just did great. Thank you. We want to thank you very much for that, for all of our investors. We have several investors in the EDC that I want to mention: Ostrom Filtration, Alfred Nancy Jones, Armstrong Coal, Baptist Health, Madisonville, Fifth Third Bank, First United Bank, Hancock Bank and Trust, J-Lock, Genmar, Joe Leisure and Sons, Energy, Landmark Contractors, Mine Equipment, Mill Supply, Multi-Care, Owensboro, National Health System, Old National Bank, the Scott Murphy and Daniel from out of town, and U.S. Bank, United Southern, of course, and Land of Frost, and certainly the city of Madisonville, this report of Hopkins County. We thank you all. Tomorrow morning, 7:30, we have a very special anniversary, and that will be for 1 million cups, which is also part of the Rudd Insurance is also one of our investors, and we've got several new investors that will be coming on board soon. Thank you all for very much for being here. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and hopefully we'll do this again. Thank you.
Always.